Hey guys, Mitch here. Excited to see you kind of right now for a second. We just finished breakfast with the kids and are truly trying to make the best out of this strange situation, soft quarantine that we find ourselves in. But the great news is it doesn't mean we're stuck inside, and I'm outside right now sitting on our deck enjoying this nice sun. And I think we're actually going to head out later today to take a hike. But before we get too far, I just want to take a minute to wish Sean and Audrey both happy birthdays this past week. I know Audrey turned 9, and Sean, we'll let you decide how, if and when you want to tell people your age. But happy birthday, and we're just glad we get to journey with you on this together. So, obviously, this is a different situation than I had anticipated, and some of the things I had planned with you guys this Sunday are not happening. And so we're going to improvise, and of course, while it's unfortunate, it does leave us new opportunities, and we're going to talk about some of those. But for one, we just get to slow down a little bit. We got to sleep in this morning, which was really nice. And I've been saying it time and time again, but the Sabbath is really important. It's really important that we rest, and really important that we find that place where Jesus fills us up, like the parable of the vine in John 15 talks about how he produces the fruit in us, but it's important that we're doing that resting so he can do that. And also, it's going to give many of us some new free time as kids have been canceling school, or maybe your job's been affected by this. And so it's a good opportunity to figure out how to love and serve others in the midst of this. So again, we're going to talk about this at the end, but I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of this video. First, we're going to revisit the learning circle, and then I'm going to share with you a tool that you can use personally or with your huddle. And then we're going to talk about just what being the church looks like, especially during these kind of uncertain times and new constraints. So let's go ahead and jump into that and talk about the learning circle for a second. First of all, when I get to this point, the learning circle, it's one of those things where after you've wrestled with it a while, it seems so clear and simple, but I always see this time and time again where people struggle to figure out exactly how to make sense of it in the beginning. And so my hope was actually to practice this a little bit more this morning, and I still want you to do that this morning, tonight, or this week, or something when you watch this. But I want you to walk through that process, and I want you to remember that the goal of this learning circle, and really everything we're doing, is to become disciples, to become learners. That Greek word they use for disciples, mathetes, which literally means a learner. And the idea is just to learn, to grow, and that requires us being able to hear from God and seeing where his ways are not matching our ways, and then implementing change to move towards to obedience. That's kind of the hope of this. Because again, literally being a disciple is being an apprentice of Jesus. It's imitating his words and his works and the ways he did things. And one of the initial kind of hard points for most of us when we go through this learning circle is trying to recognize or identify those kairos moments that we talked about. And I want to kind of reiterate what those are again. It's those things that invoke some kind of strong emotional reaction typically. And so I want you to be aware of that and be sensitive to those things that just kind of stick with you after they happen for whatever reason. I believe that reason is just that God's trying to break through and teach you something. So what are those things that happen that day or that week that just kind of stick into your memory and you're not sure why? Did it make you feel sad or angry, frustrated, scared, etc.? Those are all good indications that that's a kairos moment. Then once you identify that, which is a tricky part, another tricky part will be recognizing which tendency you face when trying to move through the learning circle process. Do you tend to jump straight into a solution without really reflecting why it's happening? Or maybe on the other side of it, do you analyze the situation like crazy but feel stuck on how to actually bring change into your life or into that situation? Or maybe you do start moving through the circle but find yourself giving up along the way because it gets tough or challenging, and only to find yourself back in the same cycle later on. yeah, there's a lot of ways you can, but I hope, hopefully, as you've been doing this, I hope you've been finding kind of the strength and the beauty of the accountability we have in huddles. That's one of the big things I want you to take away from this. In fact, this week when I was meeting with some of the guys, one of them said, well, I guess I have to do it because I told you guys I would. And that he said it kind of lightheartedly, but he was being honest. And that's the heart of this, is that it actually moves us forward to change and to becoming more like Jesus every day as apprentices of His. Because when you move towards action, quite frankly, even a small one, you'll find that there's great joy in this transformation process, especially when you get to do it alongside people you care about. So again, like I said, we were going to walk through this process in as groups, but you'll just have to practice this on your own. And so maybe some things you could do this week are trying to teach this shape to somebody. I encourage you in your huddles, if you're practicing these each week, somebody else, try to practice teaching the shape to the rest of the group. It's a good way to just help yourself learn because you internalize that material. But again, we are hoping that each one of you are leading these huddles later on this year, October, November, and so the more you can practice, the better. I'd love for you to identify one Kairos moment this week, or that maybe you had last week, and try to go through the whole process, making sure that you're bringing at least one other person into it with you for kind of that accountability and discussion piece. Or you could read the chapter 6 of our Building a Discipling Culture book, which is the Learning Circle. You can read actually all the way up to 7. If you have time this week, this would be a great time to do it. All right, so that's the Learning Circle. Again, if you ever have any questions, just say, hey, Mitch, I want to meet up, or I want to talk, and I'd love to. But the next one is we're going to work on a tool that I'm going to email you out, but it's actually in page 255 or appendix 2 of your books. And there are these list of questions that kind of are self-reflective questions that get to the heart of what's going on in our lives right now. And I was going to have you guys actually do this at your tables this morning. And so you could do it right after this, or with your huddle, or with another person around you in your life. But I'm also going to email a list form of these questions, because I do kind of front character and the back of them's competency. I like just seeing all the questions on one page. It kind of helps me through this process, and I'm going to tell you why. But I'll email those out once I post this video. But again, they're character versus competency questions. We've talked about this. We're really concerned with building strong character first, so that people can see, hopefully, the gospel in us. And as we grow and continue to grow in our faith, the things we will want to measure too are our competency as disciple makers, people who disciple another, a teacher. And those second group of questions kind of measure how good you're doing as a leader more than anything. So we're going to focus on the character questions this time. But I would encourage you to use this tool regularly in your huddle. Maybe every couple of weeks you go to this, maybe even every week. So here's the thing. If you've opened your book, you're already seeing what I'm talking about. But there's a list of questions, and they're categorized by the up, in, and out that we've talked about. And each one, there's probably 6 to 10 questions under each category, under up, in, and out, and make sure you're looking at the character ones. And what I want you to do is I want you just to read through every one of those questions. Once you read through all of those questions, I want you to do it again. I want you to take your time and read real slowly. And if I was with you, I would stop right there and have you read through them all. I'm going to trust you on this, and you're going to go through this process the right way. But what I want you to do then is, after you were to read them, and you could actually stop the video here and do that if that's better for you. But what I want you to do after you read those is ask yourself which few questions really resonated with you. Maybe 1, 2, or 3 questions really stuck out to you. Particularly, which ones make you feel kind of unsettled. Which ones kind of cut right at your heart right now where you're at. And then I want to see, do these questions seem to land in that same category, in that up category, in category, out category? Because if they do, it might actually unveil some imbalance in your life right now spiritually. And so that would be something you want to pay attention to, because it might lead you towards some kind of solution or some time of plan to move towards growth. So once you've identified that, now think about the one question that is really kind of sticking out to you. Why is it? Is it bothering you? Is it making you feel uncomfortable? What's going on in your life at this moment for this to stand out? Well, here's the thing. Once you've landed on that question, you've now entered the learning circle, because this is a way of producing a Kairos moment. This is quite literally a Kairos prod here for each of us to grow where we're at in our lives right now. So this is a cool tool, because especially if you're one in those groups, and I encountered a few that were struggling to figure out what that Kairos is, it kind of conjures up that thing inside of us that maybe is out of balance. And so I want you to do that. I want you to practice this right now. And if you are watching, this would be a great time to pause if you haven't already. Practice this right now and begin walking through the learning circle using that question or what it's digging under to walk through this opportunity to learn. All right. Now finally, I said we're going to mention what it means to be the church right now during this kind of season of our country and what's going on here in our community, locally, all that. So I've talked to many over the last couple weeks who've been pretty stressed out, worn out by your schedules and the demands of life. And what's really wild about this, and I've been encountering this left and right with you guys, and I've even said to some of you, and maybe you've heard me say this, if we can't figure out how to get good balance in our life right now, we're definitely not going to be able to have any bit of margin in our life to do the things we want to do as a church, like missionally engaging those people in our workplaces, in our neighborhoods, wherever it is, or even just quite frankly to care for each other well as a church community. And so I keep going back to this. It's really important that we get this balance right, that we're taking Sabbath seriously, and that we're making sure to rest, we're making sure to get energized by Jesus first. I referenced living on the vine, John 15. Read that one again if you haven't. And but this is really important. What's really interesting is there's a lot of negatives, of course, about this soft quarantine right now by our state, our governor, and all the cancellations that come with it. But the crazy thing about this is it really is forcing every one of us to slow down and do the things that we've been saying we want to and need to do. So we've been saying we're too busy, we have so much going on, now everything's canceled, now we don't have an excuse. So it's really a wonderful opportunity to do that, and it's so strange. I found myself having now this extra time because I can't go anywhere, and a lot of meetings have been canceled and all that stuff, and feeling busy and feeling almost like I need to go do something, and that's just the pull of that fierce rat race kind of mentality that we've been conditioned really by our culture to live into. And so this is resetting us, or hopefully it should be resetting us to say, okay, this is an unfortunate situation, but God is providing an opportunity for us to slow down and rebalance here and get healthy and do the things that we said we want to do, that we need to do in our lives to be healthy. And so it comes back to rebalancing that up in and out. For many of us, that up really suffers because we don't take the time to just be with Jesus. For many of us, it's one of those other relational dynamics that we're not good at caring for our other church community or even our own family. For others, it's, and this is usually the case for many, is that out really suffers because it becomes this kind of survival mode where all those extension relationships outside of our normal sphere we just don't put any time into. And really that's the heart. We're not building a building right now. We don't know what that building is quite yet. But we are building a church, and that is going out and being intentionally engaged with people in our circles. And so that one often gets left out when we don't have this balance. So this is that opportunity to rebalance here. And, maybe it's getting into those spiritual practices that we've been kind of missing out on or not doing. Maybe it's just spending more time with our loved ones at home or on the phone if you're not venturing out. Or maybe it's encouraging people who don't usually have time, who you don't have the time to even just be on the texting them. These could be work friends or whatever. Because here's the deal, I think most people are taking this soft quarantine pretty serious, and they're just sitting around with nothing to do. So you could really be building strong relationships with those people in your circles right now via text, phone, email, whatever it is. So our social distance isn't causing necessarily our need to emotionally distance ourselves from others. Because here's the deal, Jesus promised a light yoke, and it seems like right now he's physically ripping off that heavy yoke we keep trying to put back on ourselves in the rat race of our culture. We try to be, honestly, the best at everything in our life, which is not a bad aspiration, but it's usually our relationship with Jesus, our teacher and our friend, who suffers the most. And because that relationship suffers, our relationship with Jesus, every relationship after it truly suffers, whether we realize it or not. So it's for this reason that Jesus reminds us, in Matthew 6:33 says, "Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." It's that reminder that when we jump into Jesus, that relationship with Jesus, all these other things will come out of that up relationship. That in and out will naturally flow out, and we can do that even now without the ability to maybe go out and do these big group gatherings or participate in that sort of way. So let's take this opportunity to seek his kingdom and his righteousness as individuals, but as a community that right now is socially distanced, but hopefully not emotionally distant. So how do we do that? Well, here are just some few examples, but maybe take extra time to be with Jesus yourself. You have the time hopefully now, or it's being made for you. And then also take some extra time with you, and if you have a family, your family, to be with Jesus together. Maybe that's some impromptu worship, maybe that's a Bible story, maybe it's a devotional, whatever it takes, honestly. But it's a good opportunity to really build in that spiritual practice discipline. We're told we're not supposed to be in big groups, and so that's okay. But here's the deal, you could go into the woods, and you can take a long walk to pray, sing, reflect, and enjoy creation. In fact, I'm going to go do that with our family today. We're going to go find some trail in the woods and just enjoy Jesus as a family. Another thing, I'm really bad at returning calls, texts, and emails. So what a great time to just catch up with people you haven't done that with, and then you're like, man, they left me a voicemail a week ago. Catch up with those people and connect with those people that you haven't been able to very easily. Pick up the phone, call somebody important to you this week and the weeks ahead. Jesus came to serve, but not be served, and I'm thankful that God designed the church not to be served, but to serve. So thankfully, we really don't need to meet up as a church plant community. That's an interesting thing. I heard the gospel mission is open, which is really awesome. It's important they stay open to serve people whose lives depend on it. As our community, that's not the case, and I'm thankful for that. I'd love to see you guys, but I'm thankful that our lives don't depend on meeting together, especially as people designed to go out. This is causing us to do that and to love others. So let's find real, tangible ways to serve one another and serve those around you. In fact, there are people who are right here in our group probably that will be affected economically in significant ways. There are definitely people all in our community that are going to be affected economically. They might have a whole month of work off unpaid, and they're trying to figure out what to do. So keep your ears open, your eyes open on ways you can help. Maybe you could bring them groceries, give them a gift card, pay a bill for them. There's lots of ways that you could love them, serve them. If you're part of this community and you're worried about that, please let me know. There are also vulnerable people, medically vulnerable people that are afraid and or maybe cannot go out. Perhaps you could keep them company by just having a long phone call with them. Maybe you could deliver some groceries or supplies to their front porch. Maybe you have an elderly parent or grandparent who needs you even more right now. It gives you opportunity to love on them like crazy. So, look out for those people who are immunocompromised and might even just be going stir crazy right now. Don't need a lot. but just are going stir crazy and need a friend. Keep your ears open, your eyes open for that. And I know another big one will be childcare. Right now, with all the schools shut down, people are scrambling to figure out how they're going to work so they can pay the bills, but also make sure their kids are cared for. And so maybe you can help somebody in our church plant or in your neighborhood. Watch some kids if you have a flexible schedule, if you know a childcare opportunity that you can get them connected with. So let's pitch in and help there. Again, if you're listening to this and you need a hand, let me know or reach out to somebody in this group that you trust and let them know, because we really want to figure out ways to help you make sure your kids are cared for, but also make sure that you can provide for your families as well. So on a side note related to kids, I know Portage Schools are doing the summer Meet Up and Eat Up program right now, so the kids will be able to eat. I believe it's 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner. So if you have any questions about that, you can contact me, or I'm sure you can call Portage Schools and they can get you the details on that as well. So anyways, there are a lot of needs, and just because we can't meet up or gather in a large group, it doesn't mean that we can't be the church. So let's love well and be the church. So coming up, and of course these are all TBD, just in case things change with this virus situation. But March 27th, that Friday is New Beer Friday at the Low Seas. March 29th, we're supposed to be hosting a worship service at the Living Well. I'm not sure what their plans are, but we'll keep you updated on that. Definitely be planning for it, because it'll be our band. I'll be teaching. April 5th will be our Huddle Breakfast Adventure. If you guys aren't feeling up to going out at that point, you guys could do it in your homes. That's cool too. My hope was that you go out and see how many people were out on a Sunday morning for breakfast, even the Sunday before Holy Week starts. And then April 12th, hopefully Easter will be back in session in churches. So just be planning on which church you're going to go visit and learn from. We're going to be getting out those rubrics to learn from pretty soon. And then next week, I'm planning on hosting our church plant gathering via Zoom or Google Hangout or something right at 10 a.m. So I'm going to play with some technology a little bit, see what's the easiest for most. So get ready for details on that. And if for some reason you're worried about not being able to connect, at that time, or more specifically, if you're not available, you can't get to technology or something like that, let me know, and we'll try to work something out there. But again, that's what's going to be happening. So in the meantime, just enjoy this season of rest right now, get rebalanced, and take every opportunity you can to be the church. I love you guys and hope that you have a great rest of the week.